Drewski McGillicuddy's Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3 movie review.
Hey everybody, it's Drewski McGillicuddy, and today we're going to talk about the Texas... Wait a minute, that's not right. Today on the channel, we're talking about Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3. And I gotta admit, when I was a little kid, this was my favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I was a dumb little kid. This is where the franchise is bought by New Line Cinemas, and you can tell like a tonal shift, even though the second movie was a big tonal shift from the original. This is trying to go back to its horror roots, but it doesn't have like the essence of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It's more like a Friday the 13th or like, I don't know, it's like 90s slasher more than it's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre type feel. I mean, it even looks like a completely different part of Texas from the original. Like, this looks more like it's closer to like Colorado or New Mexico, because it's like more desert than it is just open fields with like this does not look like a place in Texas where there would be a slaughterhouse. Do you know what I mean? Like, have you ever been to this? Like, anyway, let's talk about the movie. So the movie stars the guy that plays Tommy in the Night of the Living Dead remake. And I did not even realize that the entire time that I've been watching this movie. And then his voice this time kind of just dawned on me. Like, that sounds so familiar. So I had to look it up. And sure enough, it's Tommy. And he also played Mike in Friday the 13th Part 7. So him and this chick, they're on the road, they're driving this ugly ass, like, gots to be one of the ugliest fucking shades of paint I ever seen on a Mercedes-Benz from California all the way to Florida. And they hear a radio broadcast that says that the police had found this body pit where there's all these bodies just being dumped. And actually, you know, we're skipping ahead of ourselves. At the very beginning of this movie, you see this girl being murdered while her sister or her friend, I can't remember, is watching. And then Leatherface proceeds to make him a new mask. And it's a pretty good scene. I like it a lot, really. Back to them driving down the road. They're driving along, and they're driving along, and they run over this poor little defenseless armadillo, and it's just sad because they have to go over and crush it with a rock to put it out of its misery. And it's actually a very sad scene for people like me, because I love animals. I saved a puppy dog today, or tried to. Hopefully somebody found her. She ran away from me eventually, but me and a police officer from my town chased this dog around for fucking 47 minutes, and then finally was like, you know what, fuck you. Don't get hit by a car. Just, you know, stick to the back alleys and you'll be fine. But I don't know if the dog listened to me. She seemed smarter than I was, though, because we sat there, me and this officer, just getting outsmarted by this dog. But I also helped save some baby birds that might have gotten crushed. And I scratched his little head because they were adorable. Look at them. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. Like, what the fuck's wrong with me? Anyway, so they put this thing out of its misery, and they go down, and they come to the Last Chance gas station. And, you know, I'm gonna just pause for a moment and hear my quick thoughts about how this does not seem like the Sawyer family. I mean, it is the Sawyer family, but is it like distant relatives that live like 100 miles south or north from where they were in the original two movies? Because this is like way off the beaten path, and these people, I don't know, where did they come from is what I want to know, watching it as an adult. As a kid, I didn't care because there was some pretty decent stuff in this movie, but then I realized hold on, we'll get to that. All right, so they get to this gas station, right? And my favorite character in the movie is this, like, I don't know, he's got like a blind eye. I think his name's Alfonso or Alfredo or something like that. And he comes up and he's just creepy as shit. And then you got Viggo Mortensen, who plays Tex. It comes up and he's like wanting to ride, but like when they were listening to the body pit thing, they came across the roadblock where they was checking to see if people were murderers. And the cops said, "Where are you coming from?" That's where you find out that she's going to Florida with this car from California. And then the cop says, "Don't stop for nobody or nothing. Keep your doors locked. Just drive to where you're going and don't stop till you get there." So that's what they were kind of doing. And then they stop at this gas station because they had to get gas. And she had to pee. He had to pee. And then Alfredo was peeking at her while she was peeing. And then Tex was like, "You son of a bitch." And like, I think they were trying to like swindle into a ride because at first you don't know. Is that a spoiler? I mean, you should already know, right? Not to trust anybody in Texas. Especially the bond ring, you son of a bitch. I trust you. We'll just cut that out. What was I talking about? So yeah, they get in a scuffle and he starts shooting at Tex with his shotgun. So they get in a car and they head off on down the road and get the fuck up out of there. And then later on that night, they run into some more trouble and they wreck. And that's where they meet Ken Foree, whatever his name was, Buddy or Tom or Billy. Who knows? Who really knows what people's names are in movies? I couldn't be bothered to write it down. Hell, I'm not even wearing my watch. I don't even know what time it is right now. They get into this wreck and Ken Foree, or whatever the hell his character's name is, goes and he tries to help. And, you know, they're knocked out. She's knocked out. He gets them out of the car, and then he goes looking for help. And he comes across this tow truck driver with a hook for a hand who is just obviously not even trying to hide the fact that he's some fucking creepy weirdo. So, whatever Ken Foree's, or however the hell you say his character's name is, in the movie, goes off. He's like, "Hold on a minute, I'll be right back." And he goes and he gets his rifle. He's not stupid. And he's like, "This motherfucker's crazy." Like, just look at the truck. Only a crazy person would drive this truck. Which, speaking of this truck, the scene where he comes out of the garage and Alberto or Alfonso or something is just running around shooting his gun off, talk about, "Yeah, get that bitch," or something like, because they say "get that bitch" or "bitch." They say "bitch" in this movie a lot, like almost more than I say "fuck" in a review. But I feel like once all this stuff happens and like climaxes, like I don't know if I like the side characters that much in this movie. Aside from Alfonso or Alberto, I like him and I like Tex. But then you find out there's a little girl, and I just don't know if it's because I don't know. It's just she's kind of cringeworthy at times. And then my dog's barking in the backyard, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Anyway, and then there's the mama. I like the fact that she's got the trachea thing, and her legs are all scary looking. But the lady that plays her, I don't know if she does the greatest job. Now, it didn't bother me when I was a kid. Watching it now, it's like, oh, God. Really? But anyway, so they're in... Jesus Christ, I gotta go let these fucking dogs. Oh yeah, so finally we're introduced back into Leatherface and they're out, you know, running around in the dark, and that's, you know, one of the flaws of this movie. I mean, I know a lot of the other movies, you know, took place in the dark, but this movie is dark. Like, I don't know if it's because I mean, some of the shots looked great. Like, it was a special edition DVD. Maybe if I got the Blu-ray, I don't know. But this movie definitely takes place at night. Like, it's dark as shit. But, you know, Leatherface goes chasing Ken Foree around, and then Tex catches up with these other people, and they bring him back to the house. And my favorite part of the movie, he nails her to the chair. And, like, when I was a kid, this shit looked real as fuck. Like, looking at it now, it's definitely some good special effects makeup, but it doesn't look as real as it did when I was a kid. Where am I at? Who am I talking to? What's going on here? But aside from it, like, being a lot of time taking place where you can't really see anything, once they get to the house and they do their imitation, I guess, of the dinner scene, and you got Grandpa sitting over there, and this time Grandpa's dead as he could get, because Ken Foree finally busts in and starts to save the day, and he shoots at Grandpa, and Grandpa's got a head full of sand, it looks like. I don't know, but like, it's definitely a cool shot. And I don't know, the end of the movie, it's not as good as I remember it being, but I do like the scene where Ken Foree's out there with Alfonso, or whatever his name is, before he comes and saves the day. See, look, I'm all over the goddamn place, but you're just gonna have to deal with that. What was I talking about? They're trying to recreate the dinner party. They take the guy and they string him up. But then that's when Ken Foree comes in to save the day, shoots Grandpa, shoots Mama, you know. But yeah, I'm still jumping ahead of myself. God damn it. Because I like the part where the tinker, or whatever, the guy with the hook hand that you shouldn't have trusted to begin with, that you should have had your gun and just shot him. I don't know. It's just things about this movie. But anyway, he throws Leatherface's tape deck thingy into the fucking oven or whatever, and Leatherface does not take too kindly to that, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching him take out some frustration on his actual family member, let you know that he is not to be fucked with, and I like him a little better than I did in the second one. I used to like it a lot, like I said, when I was a little kid. I don't know, something about this movie I liked a lot more than any of the other ones. But looking back at it now, it's okay, but they could have did so much better, because like the look of him now is just so weird compared to like the original movie. Like, that's the Leatherface, or even the remake, but we'll get to that when we get there. But I don't know, instead of me rambling on, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up in a neat little bow, and just say this movie was a lot. Hold on, where's it going? Is it put it over here? This movie was a lot better back then. But it's not so bad now. Like, the ending, the chick's performance, it's just, I don't know. But I do want to talk about, real quick before I leave you, have y'all ever seen the trailer for this movie? Because let's just talk about this. Like, it's Leatherface standing there, and then the lady in the water, and then it's just so goddamn cheesy. And it's like, this is, when I say stuff's 90s gay, I don't know if you've ever heard me say that. I'm talking about this. But, you know, the movie was pretty, I don't know. There's things about it I love, and then there's things about it that just make me scratch my head and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, New Line Cinemas? You did the same sort of shit that Jason Goes to Hell, but then these are the people responsible for the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Well, I guess, you know, if you look at it long enough, especially if you're Cody Leach. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. You saw my rating. This is my thoughts. This is the best I can do. I am so terrible at this. Somebody help me. Anyway, if you want to follow me on the social medias, you can do that. You can also help me out by clicking these buttons that will pop up periodically. And then go tell your friends, tell your mom, be like, hey, this jackass that doesn't know what he's doing is reviewing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. So if you want to see that, there it is. Anyway, I gotta go. My dogs are assholes, and this cat, he's probably an asshole. I don't know. I gotta go.